Hey guys, Dave with Air Spool here, and we have new Todd, Todd 2, not the Todd, but a Todd with the Air Spool LLC, and he's the Todd when it comes to sales and marketing, S&M, and the new thing we're gonna do, he's gonna ask some questions, and we're gonna make some videos based on your questions. And Todd, without further ado, what do you got for me?
Hey, any questions you guys got, let me know. Dave's going to answer them for you. Today, we're talking about solar. So the question is, do I need solar panels connected, ready to go on my roof when I buy an Air Spool Mini Split?
No. Next question. No.
Whoa.
So this it'll work just fine on just normal grid power. And we're talking about the 12,000 BTU units here because that's sort of our bread and butter unit. We do 24,000. We do multi-split, but let's first get kind of conceptually how things work based on the MS12 unit here. So it'll run 22.5 SEER on grid, so that's super high efficient. You just plug it in to a normal wall outlet. It'll run off grid if you only have solar panels plugged into it. And if you have both plugged into it, solar always gets prioritized. So let's say that the unit has the smarts inside of it to know what it needs. So let's say it needs 800 watts to run. There's only 300 watts of solar available at the time. 500 watts are going to be coming from the grid, but it will always take whatever solar is available and prioritize it.
So do people ever buy a Air Spool Mini Split, MS12 in this case, with the future intention of doing solar and, just using grid power right now?
Yeah, so the solar, there's what's called MC4 connections on the outdoor unit, okay? And all solar, you love them or hate them, MC4 connectors are how solar panels connect to things. And so everything's just boy, girl, click in. And so if you don't ever click in the panels, the unit will never, it's just a high efficiency unit. But 3 years from now, if it's your option, if you end up wanting to attach solar, you get some deal on panels. I mean, right now, as of fall of 2025 here, the panels are around $400 to $600, say, for the panels plus any mounting hardware. So it's not a huge investment from our perspective. That's why we're doing this, to be able to run your air conditioner for free whenever it's sunny, your heating for free whenever it's sunny. I get the friction is not necessarily the cost of the panels, but it's the cost of putting them up on your roof, or how it's the mounting, right? But if you can't get to that task right away, it's your option to add them whenever. If you want to add them, you can add them. If not, don't.
So do I need batteries like in this whole setup, or how does that work? Because I know batteries are a big part of solar and
Yeah, so the magic of this system is you just plug the panels, click them onto the outdoor unit. Outdoor unit has an internal voltage controller, also known as an MPPT, maximum point power tracking. I think that's right. But anyway, people call it the common name MPPT. That's all internal to the unit. And so you don't need any batteries. Why don't you need batteries? Because as we just discussed, the grid is your battery. So if instead of having to spend, batteries, the problem with batteries is they're expensive. If you try unit will run off maybe 1 kilowatt hour per hour, a little less than that, but at peak times, when it's super hot out or super cold out, you need around 1 kilowatt, maybe a little more. And your batteries will drain down in a pretty big hurry, based on the fact that really the usable solar, even in the summer, maybe 9 hours on longest days of the year, right? Fall time, we're getting into sort of 4 hours is going to be normal, I think. So the grid, if you have grid power, use it. If you're off grid, people that are off grid still like these units. Why? Because they don't need to upgrade their batteries, they don't need to upgrade their MPPT, and they don't need to upgrade their inverter. So, but yes, nothing needed except the panels themselves and probably some type of mounting, because if you just throw them on the ground, the wind will hurricane them away and you're going to have a problem. But click them on
okay.
and the unit will run.
Yeah. So what about like, do the panels need to be like close by the outdoor unit? Like, do they need to be like on the roof, right above, or can they be, in the yard, or is there a limit as far as kind of where the panels go?
Um, there's not much of a limit, and the reason is, and a wonderful tool for this is something you may have heard of called Chat GPT. So you can say, I'm 100 feet away. The voltage of my panels, and by the way, these are connected. The panels, you connect them in series, so voltage is additive, and that's actually a good thing versus in parallel where the current is additive. But when the voltage is additive, you maybe are going to be at least at like 150 volts. So your current through the system at 1,000 watts is less than 10 amps. And so really, even if the panels are 100 feet away, you can put in what you got in Chat GPT and it'll answer you in 5 seconds. But okay, my solar panels are 100 feet away. I have 14 gauge wire, would sound like pretty not very thick wire for doing this, but again, because the voltage is high, it'll run just fine on that gauge wire. And your losses may be for 150 or 175 for that distance, maybe 7-8%. But if you were going to be at 30 feet or whatever, anyway, it's an additional maybe 3% more or 4% more loss. And 3 or 4% is still some loss, but I mean, one $50, $100 solar panel probably more than pays for trying to do thicker gauge wire. So, yeah,
Got it. Okay.
really, I mean, most people I'd say, Todd, are within 50 feet of where their solar arrays are. But if you like live in the woods, you like the tall trees around you, put these out in the field 100 feet away, and it's still going to work just great for you.
Okay. Yeah, no, so I mean, eh, as far as buying them, like, do you where where do you get these? Who do you recommend? Like,
So what's happening in the last couple of years is the solar industry is changing. And up to this point, most of the people that you've probably known, if you're in a city slicker or suburb slicker, that have gone solar have done so with net metered system, meaning that they sell their extra power back to the grid and then they get a credit at nighttime. But you look at California, for example, I mean, starting in April 2023, all of a sudden you have to push up 4 kilowatt hours up to get about 1 kilowatt hour credit back, and that's just lousy rate of return. So um,
so in that
people
case, you're
still do
basically
batteries.
giving 3/4 to the grid and getting a quarter back in
Yeah,
credit.
and
Okay.
then I mean,
Yeah.
and then by the way, your power rates in California have in the last 2 years have also gone up, whatever X percentage. So
Yeah.
like in California, citing that there as an example, you're having um, you need to make a choice, or you're even take it on the chin every year, and PG&E rate keeps going up, or SCE Edison rate keeps going up, or you get yourself some solar going, and if you can get solar with a battery array, that's fine. But this won't run your whole house. I mean, if you're in Bakersfield or you're in Inland Empire, you're somewhere where it's at Palm Springs, where it's up to 100 degrees for many summer days, and you're paying in the late afternoon, you're paying 50 cents or more a kilowatt hour. This is your low hanging fruit for savings. All right. Do whole house solar, get yourself some batteries if you want, but just this is a way to get set up. And so this is all has changed. And Todd, what was your original question before I started riffing? But you were
Y-
asking something.
I don't know. We lost it. So, I mean, that was my biggest thing that drew me to this is
Yes.
we have a 3,700 square foot house, a bunch of different random bedrooms and everything else, too big. You probably know, you could walk by and tell me what units they are. Too big, kind of central AC units. And our whole thing is like we spend here in Vegas like the majority of our time in like an 800 square foot, kind of kitchen slash living room area. And the
Right.
idea, like you were saying, is just it being supplementary to whole home, and
Right.
it just kind of it
Well,
taking care of
so
like
so
the majority of the bill, like in the summer, in the
right.
part of the house that you live in.
Well, we have customers, clients who have 12 units. We have clients, most majority have 1 unit, right? And so one guy who's in Costa Mesa, which is not super hot there, but his wife likes it super cold upstairs. She's upstairs most of the time. They were having to run their whole 3.5 ton unit at whatever 71 degrees, and the bills were astronomical. And by placing just
Yeah.
1 ton solar unit up by her, that runs the hardest. The other unit set to 77 or 76 or whatever. He's saving $150 a month off of 1 unit, right? I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
extreme.
No
That's
brainer.
California. That's based on his setup, but you get the idea. For if you even if you put one of these in your house, if you're um, in Arizona or somewhere or California, and you can increase your every degree you can decrease every on the thermostat, every degree you put up your thermostat, like from 75 to 76, well, there's 2.5% in energy savings, right? And again,
Whoa.
for his situation, there
Yeah.
was even more than that because he was able to. Yeah, I mean, it just worked out because of his situation where there's even bigger savings. So,
Yeah. So, if you were to recommend, are there companies you recommend as far as getting solar panels and
oh, back to
alternative
that
places
question
to
again.
purchase them? Yeah, I think that was
So
the
yeah,
original
so
question.
so that was the original question. So we're working on maybe doing panels in the future, probably flexible panels. We've introduced those. We've test marketed some of that. The problem right now with us, we ship mostly via UPS, and we can't ship solar panels via UPS. So everything's palletized. Solar
Are they
panels
just
are
too
big.
heavy or?
They're big, they're heavy, they're
Yeah.
glass, and they can't ship via UPS. And so we
Okay.
refer people to local places. And yeah, I mean, Santan Solar in Gilbert, Arizona. Um, Green Tech Renewables is national, so we refer people a lot to those places. Also, like Facebook Marketplace, lots of times people they
Hmm.
they get a pallet. They're required again because solar panels are hard to ship. They will order a pallet of panels. Like, okay, great, I needed 8 panels here. What do I do with the other 6 or whatever are left? And they put them on Facebook Marketplace, and they of course try and, oh, I'm in the solar business now. I'm going to sell these for more than I bought them for. But I
Yeah.
think realistically, that's pretty negotiable. But even that, as of fall of 2025, you're probably on those pretty much looking at 30 cents a watt or something. So for the
Hmm.
recommended 1,500 watts, and I don't know if we talked about that yet either, but how many watts do we recommend? 1 ton unit, we recommend 1,500 watts. And you can ask me,
1500.
that'll be your
Okay.
next question, why 15, how many watts? But so 1,500 times zero point 0.3 for 30 cents a watt is $450, right? So
Hmm.
again, that's how you can get, and maybe if you're patient, you can find for even less than that, but it's a nice option for you to add solar for virtually not nothing, but these days $450 doesn't go real far. And if it can cool your home for at least 500 square foot of your home whenever it's sunny out for the next 25 years, that's not a bad opportunity, is it, Todd?
Yeah. So if I were to buy the panels and the mounting and everything else on Facebook Marketplace, do I need to separately buy I think you call them MC4 cables, the cables that connect to the panels into the outdoor unit or the
Well,
isolator?
every solar panel I've ever seen has a male and a female solar solar jack called an
Hmm.
MC4 connector, male MC4 and a female MC4. So those are in a
Okay.
daisy chain together, boy, girl, and then we provide you with 10 meters, which is 32 foot 8 inches of
Oh, okay.
solar wire. And so again, there's each one of those is going to be black and red with one will have girl boy, one the other one will say the red one is girl boy, the black one is boy girl, and so those are going to hook right onto your solar array. And then we provide you with an isolator, which is basically nothing other than an on-off switch for the solar. You always keep it on unless you're doing work on your unit, and then we provide you with 54-inch whips that go from the outdoor unit to the bottom of the isolator. So we provide you with everything else other than the solar panels and the mounting hardware for the solar panels.
Cool. I love it, dude.
You
Is
get
there
one?
anything else
No,
you
I can.
any
You give me, hey, at your 1 year employment agreement, I'll probably come up with a nice opportunity for you to get one at maybe 20% off. How's that sound?
I love it. Yep, I'm excited. Put the countdown down. Is there anything else, Dave, you want to share about solar and just in
So
general?
no, I mean, so yeah, sort of, yes. I mean, this whether you're interested or not. I mean, we see this as the future. Why? Because will it reach this far? So see this. This is turning the alternating current of your home into direct current. So too many things now are running on DC power. So Edison was right; he was just 140 years too early, and so your electric vehicle that is running ultimately on DC power, right? Your computer, your phone, your TV all run on DC power. This heat pump now, the motors in this unit run on DC power. And so really long term, there's probably potentially going to have a DC node to plug your all these different things into. As of now, it looks like it's going to be 350 volt DC. There's going to have to be, of course, some voltage conversion going on. So that's anyone looking for making a career in the next 5 years. The future is DC to DC conversion. Plastics back in the 1960s. Right now, I think it's DC to DC conversion. So, yeah, I mean, this is the future. This is pretty neat stuff we're working on. In that normally, a normal mini split it runs on alternating current. Inverter mini splits run on direct current, but if you plug it into your normal wall, you're having to rectify that alternating current to direct current. So a little bit of loss there. And but this, solar panels are DC, the motors in this unit are DC, and so there's no conversion loss, and that's going to be the future, at least here in the Southwest. There's plenty of sun to capture to run things for free. And on the local level, you don't have the I mean, the amount of expense and overhead at the California utilities, for instance, because they're allowed to make their public utilities allowed to make like 10% or 12%, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're charging you 40 cents or 50 cents a kilowatt hour, that means their cost is 25, 30 cents or 35, 40 cents a kilowatt hour to stay within the Public Utility Commission, California Public Utility Commission threshold where they're only making 12%, right? And it's because they have so many overhead from like past lawsuits, from grid maintenance, from $14 million a year CEO pay, yada, yada, yada. But by you just putting panels up on your, 3 panels up on your roof,
Mm-hmm.
it's the least expensive form of power you can have to run too many devices in the future. Right now, you can run this with 1,500 watts. You can run this all day long for free for the next 25 years. So,
Dude, we got it was either an email or a comment I saw of someone who likes to unplug their unit like
right,
from the grid just for fun, like during the day,
right,
and then
and then
plug it
like,
back in at night, like just because it's so novel that it's
right,
like
right, right. Well,
pumping AC for free, and
I mean,
the electronics are lit up and
this is new technology. So in the old systems were all 48 volts, so they all ran off of 4 batteries, right? And so you needed to charge the batteries, and then okay, with that there was a voltage controller, and there was an inverter, but they had a special type of compressor to run on 48 volts. So that compressor was more expensive, and but so this is really is taking off the shelf inverter compressor technology, but just doing some real special electronics to allow this blending of AC and DC. And yeah, it's the first time I saw this running unplugged. I mean, it's magic to be able to have cold air coming out of, I mean, not the heat, by the way, is not what produces solar. It's the photons that are hitting the solar panels, the light, not the heat. In fact, heat is bad for when it gets hot out. Your panels actually become less efficient. But yeah, the first time you see this running totally unconnected to the grid is pretty magical.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty wacky. Yeah, having it all lit up and pumping cold air with nothing plugged in. Well, cool,
So
Dave. All right, man. Thank you. This is good. For everyone else, if you have questions that you want Dave to answer about anything kind of in this sphere, um, he's happy
yeah,
to.
so this is a new industry. So I mean, your questions we're going to work to answer the questions we probably get the most of, but shoot us your questions, and if they're at least seem hypothetically like some others want them answered, we will work to address it. Thanks for your time.
Love it. All right, till next time. Thanks.